I'm still very new to StreamYard, so usually other servers are like, "Hey, you're live," or big angry robotic voice like, "You're now streaming." But no, StreamYard's like, "Hey, you're just live." Anyway, for anyone watching this, you're probably not watching this live because I didn't put the link out, but for everyone watching this, you're watching a game that was arranged through the Gauntlet, which is a community on the internet that gets together and plays tabletop role-playing games online. Find them at gauntlet-rpg.com. You'll find there's a lot of stuff they do in terms of tabletop role-playing games. There's blogs, there's forums, there is a wide varied podcast network. And there is the Codex, which is a zine that comes out monthly. It exists. It has existing supplements to existing games or original games in itself most of the time. And also there's the Hangouts calendar, to which this game and many others are arranged. There's like at least 100 a month. Lots of different sessions of different types of story games, indie games, OSR games, all sorts. And this is one of them. This game in particular is the first of a 5-part session looking into Hack the Planet, which is a cyberpunk climate fiction, science fiction forged in the dark game by Fraser Simons, who people might know as the designer behind a cyberpunk PBTA game, The Veil. There is a link down below to check out all that stuff. This is a bit different from The Veil, which is about post-cyberpunk questions about humanity. Here, we're kind of in a more desperate sort of world, a world that has been battered by climate change as we exist in this massive shelter city that's slowly being, well, I'd say slowly, but has almost been completely co-opted by corporations. But we'll get into that more when we get into play. First, let's kind of introduce ourselves to each other. Perfect timing. We just got the 5th member of our party for today. Thankfully, just came in just in time. So let's just introduce ourselves to each other and to whoever might be watching this. I don't know. People might be watching this. I'm optimistic. But yeah, for those who don't know, my name's Leandro. I use he, him pronouns, and I've been in the Gauntlet for like a year and a bit. July last year. It's been fun. It's been a ride and a half since. Let's go clockwise. I've never done that. Clockwise on this screen. That's really cool. So just introduce yourself, pronouns, and if you want to shout out something you think it's cool, that's cool. Whether you did something or I don't know, it's just something you think people should know, feel free to shout it out. So start with yourself, Param.
Great. Hi, I'm Parham. I joined, I don't know when, I think like 3-4 months ago. And I use he and him pronouns. And you will probably see the game master of every game I'm in controlling my character sheet. That's because I'm blind and writing stuff on my character sheet while I'm talking makes me go crazy. Because there's a thing reading in my ears all the things that I'm typing. So yes, if you see me like asking visual questions throughout the game, you know why. And that's me.
Cool. Up next is Alan. Introduce yourself and everything else.
Hello, I'm Alan. Use he, him. I've been playing with the Gauntlet since last year's GauntletCon. And running games since the spring, I think, with the Gauntlet. And GauntletCon is coming up. Running 4 sessions at that and playing in 3. I was kind of hoping, I think you're running a sprawl session, Leandro, but I didn't see it until I'd already booked something else. So I'm a bit disappointed with myself for that. Never mind. So that's me.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't think, are we in anything together? And GauntletCon, that's a question for not while in the middle of playing. We'll figure that out. Not in the middle of introducing ourselves to each other. I will say I hope we do find time to play together in GauntletCon. Anyway, up next, Josh, would you kindly introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. I am Josh. I am pretty new to the Gauntlet. I joined over the summer, but I wasn't able to start playing until, early September, late August. I am excited to start. I use him pronouns. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much, Josh. And last but not the least, Rob, you kind of introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rob. I use he/him pronouns. I've been with the Gauntlet now for about 2 or 3 years. And I've just started running games again for the Gauntlet after taking a break in early 2018. So I started with running Hit the Streets, and I'll be running Root RPG later this month.
Hell yeah. looking forward to that. It'll be fun. All right. So before we get into the game proper, I do want to talk about the safety tools we're using for this series, and I'm gonna make sure to shout them out every time we start a session. First off, we do have lines and veils, and they're in the character keeper somewhere in the sea of tabs. There we go. There they are. Basically, lines are things that won't be crossed, won't show up in the fiction at all. It's just off the table. Veils are things that can happen in fiction, but we're not going to concentrate on it. They're going to happen off screen, or we won't linger on it. We'll fast forward over it, so to speak. It's just, it can happen, but it's not, we're not going to focus on it if it does happen. We're also using the X card. Basically, if we do roll into a scene where folks feel uncomfortable for any reason, and any reason's completely fine, like, I don't know, like a name that has bad vibes to you, or just any element, and any element's fine, and you can say you want to X that. You're gonna make the symbol on the put this fully up, yeah, the symbol here in the video or on the chat or on the roll for party. There's a button there. I might ask some questions to specify what's being X carded, but if it's played, no one gets to question it. Like, it just happens. Completely fine, and we'll roll back the scene and try something else. And finally, we have an open door policy. If at any point, if for whatever reason folks need to step away from the table, whether because there's an emergency, or you're more tired than you thought, and you need to lie down, or you need to step away, or you need to go I don't know, you finish your entire mug of coffee before you've even started playing, and that's a ticking time bomb there. If it explodes in the middle of the game, we're gonna pause. It's completely fine. At any point, if folks need to step away, we'll pause the game, and let yourself get comfortable. So, with that done, let me remind folks the premise of the game. So, in Hack the Planet, you play glitches. Which are cyberpunks, as in cyberpunks, criminals, rogues, scoundrels who've kind of taken themselves off grid. That's why they're called glitches, living in this massive city called Shelter One, constructed by corporations that now control the entire place. The world is outside Shelter One is kind of messed up thanks to these gigantic weather events called acts of God, which range the gamut of hurricanes, tsunamis, blizzards. It's fun times. So you're all part of a criminal underworld trying to make a living in the Shelter's massive climate refugee area called the Green Zone. And well, we'll play to find out how you folks get along. So I think I want to talk about first is what sort of tone people want. Tone and expectation, I guess. We're only here for 5 sessions, so the better it's all on the table what people want to get from this game, the better experience for everyone. So we can there's some questions here in the book of are we interested in the dark and gritty story or in a bit more of an adventurous romp, because that will actually help in at least flagging to me how severe consequences can get. It'll help me modulate okay, what kind of harm or complications could happen to y'all. But let's go around the clock again. I do want to know what are folks expecting from this game. So come back to you, Param. What are you expecting?
Is there like the questions that I need to answer, or should I just go?
I'll just go. Like, there's not
Okay.
really any questions. This is just something.
Yeah.
We're just setting expectations right now.
Yeah, I personally like games where you have like a group of criminals who at some point for good or bad reasons end up improving the world or solving problems in the end. Not sure if everyone else is okay with that, but I'm putting it out there on the table so that we can discuss. But that's pretty much it. I don't really have any preferences in how dark the game is. I think the more like darker, also the bigger the achievements of the group seem. So like that balances itself out for me. Mostly, it's like, what's the end game of this group? Is this like, yeah, we're just trying to get as much creds? Is that I don't know what the money.
Oh, here they're called jewels, as in like
Yeah.
electricity jewels, as in like it's like in the fiction they're like these bars that actually have energy and you need them to like power stuff, and also it's barter.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like, is this group only out for jewels, or are they out for stopping some corporations that are doing bad things, or are they out for I don't know, improving the climate and stuff like that? And I prefer like stuff that are supposed to improve things, at least in the outset.
Cool. Well, that's a good thing to flag at the start. Alan, what about you? What are you expecting?
Yeah, I don't mind a bit of light in the end of the tunnel, but I think it probably is a tunnel. So I think for me, I would prefer to feel at the end that even if my character starts hard and self-serving, he or she may come out the end of the tunnel into the light.
Cool. That is a nice character arc to have at the start. Josh, what are you expecting?
Yeah, what am I expecting? I think that I am expecting some probably hard decisions, some toxic capitalism, some classic cyberpunk tropes mixed in with our newer cli-fi sort of framework.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I think that really that still jives with what everyone else has been saying. It's cool. And Rob, what about you? What are you expecting?
So like I always say I like dark fiction. I don't like grim dark. So I don't mind like difficult choices and sort of morally ambiguous characters, but I don't like graphic violence or just being the worst people possible. So
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Just, you mean like not being bad just for the sake of being a terrible person? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, I'll note that down. Yeah, not have people who like the first thing they do when they come on screen is like kick a parrot or something like that. Look bad.
A parrot.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know why a parrot is what came to mind. Or yeah, is there anything more you want to say, Barb? Sorry, it looks like you sounded like you were going to say something.
No. I was still thinking out loud how you could even kick a parrot all the way in the sky. But yes, I chose not to ask that question.
Okay, maybe it's not a sign of them being evil. Maybe it's just a sign of them being ridiculous or bad. I was like, oh, they kicked a parrot into the sky. Okay, I'm getting distracted. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is choose a crew. We're not gonna flesh it out yet, but the crew type kind of like it signals what's the kind of scores or kind of jobs you are gonna get. So I'm just gonna go through the list, and I've included the stuff from that was unlocked in the Kickstarter. They're a bit weirder, so we might not choose them. We'll probably stick with the default stuff. But let me like read the pitch for each of them. So first up, there are cleaners. They're the mercenaries for hire, focusing on accidents, disappearances, murders, ransoms. They're your hard-bitten, soldier types. We got clippers. They're a motorcycle gang. So each of you they're thugs with futuristic cycles that focus on battles, races, extortion, territory control, smash and grab. So yeah, classic motorcycle gang shenanigans. So that means if you pick that, each of you gets a motorbike. We'll have to flesh that out. There are comets. They dive from airships. They scavenge. They steal. They focus on extractions, espionage, sabotage, theft. So imagine thieves, but with like flying ships. There we go. Because if you pick that, you come default with an airship. Which is cool, but then you also have to maintain that airship with fuel and whatnot. Shifters are crews that travel in convoys of vehicles. They usually do scores outside of Shelter 1, so they're the ones who probably battle the elements the most. They focus on deliveries, discoveries, reconnaissance, and entertainment. Is that correct? I'm reading from the book. I don't know what entertainment entails, but yeah, you're a convoy of vehicles going out of the city to I don't know, serve the populace there, do deliveries, or watch out for people outside of Shelter 1. And the last type are wires. They are vice dealers. They deal in illicit goods, focus on supplying or selling these goods, socializing, networking, forming new connections and assets with shows of force. They're like they're the diplomatic group, I guess. They're business folk. They sell some stuff. So those are kind of like the default ones. The Kickstarter ones I've added in the sheet, but honestly, I think they're a bit weird. But I'll read them out anyway because as examples. Let me find them. So Rangers are weird. They're military scientists who kind of collect biological genes. They're Rangers, they're scientists. They unlock genes that let you have weird mutagenic powers. So other crews, they have your turf and claim sheets where if you grab this turf, you get +1 to healing rolls. But for Rangers, you unlock this gene, you can fly, or you can get claws. So they're weird. The other one after that are sappers. They're revolutionaries. They're wreckers. They if people want to start fighting corporations, they're the ones who are going to be looking out for the little folk. So they use guerrilla tactics, propaganda. They have a cause worth fighting for. They fight the rich and whatnot. So those are sappers. And I think the last one are storm speakers. They're weird. They're a coven. You're storm witches. You kind of you're a cult who do weird stuff with the acts of God. They can psychically predict storms, changes in the weather. They do weird stuff with nature. So yeah, those are kind of all the crews out there. And instead of, I'm gonna forgo the clockwise thing and just if I don't know what. Actually, no. Let's keep on with the. People can just jump in. What crews are kind of interesting, folks?
I like the comets and the sappers. What about you guys?
Both of those were. Oh, sorry. Go on, Rob.
I was leaning towards clippers at first, but then I heard airship, so I kind of like comets.
Yeah, I had my order of battle was comets, sappers, and storm speakers. So comets is the top of my list.
Yeah, I'd love airships. I love that visual, so I'd be more than happy to go with that.
Fab. All right, so we reached a consensus. That was quick and amazing. All right, so we've got comets. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. All right, let me just start hiding the sheets. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read out the playbooks this time. And the nice thing with at least Forge and Dark Star stuff games, unlike PBTA, people can have the same playbook. But I'm gonna read them out, and then ask like what y'all are interested, and let you claim playbooks and start making characters. So I'm gonna read out the playbook types. Where are we? Here we go. Characters. So yeah, you're all are glitches, blah blah blah. Characters have hacked their bodies to get off the grid. So you're all ghosts in the machine. And okay, so here are the playbook types, and we'll flesh out what your crew is in the comments once we finish characters. All right. So first up is the edge. That's the muscle. If you want to be good at physical confrontations, you play the edge. The feint is, if you want to socially manipulate people and entangle others. They are, I forgot they come with blurbs when I go to these. Yeah, they're an ephemeral operator. They're kind of like the spider in Blades. They're a mastermind sort of character who manipulates social stuff. They're mostly for downtime stuff. Up next is the fuse. They're deadly and stealthy infiltrator. So if you want to be good at sneaking into places undetected, be the fastest person in the room, that's the fuse. Up next is the haunt. They are the hacker of the hacker playbook. If you want to be proficient at hacking and belong to this like specific subculture with the glitch criminal underworld that are good at hacking and whatnot, that's the haunt. And then after that is the lens. They are a tracker and a sniper. So if you want to be like a survivor and a sharpshooter, you play the lens. Up next is the I put the wrong order here. Up next is the torque. That's the kind of like the leech, the artificer, the crafter. If you want to invent, modify, and craft new technology, interested in sabotaging things, that's the torque. The quirk is the last one. They are a daring wanderer and a scholar. They're the ones who like know a lot about acts of God. If you're good, if you want to be exceptional at studying, interacting with the weather, basically, acts of God, play a quirk. And I've included one of the Kickstarter playbooks. There's like two, but one of them is like you take that in the middle of a campaign, so I'm not including that. But the one I'm including is called the Perfect. They're a synthetic person encoded for employ. So they are completely artificial. And they are like perfect human specimen. But, how do you deal with that? So that's the Perfect. Yeah, so what playbooks are folks interested in?
Go.
Okay. I've written 3 down. Quirk, feint, fuse. Not necessarily in that order. Any one of those?
Cool.
I would go for haunt or feint. I have 2 preferences.
Okay. What about you, Rob or Josh? Josh, you're muted, by the way.
Haunt and fuse are the 2 that I am looking at right now.
All right. So my 2 picks were either torque or lens.
Ooh.
Okay, Rob, you can basically pick either of the 2 you like.
Mm-hmm.
We actually don't. You said we don't have to all pick. We don't have to pick only one of each, right? Or
Yeah. Like it's not unlike PBTA games. You're not locked in. We could theoretically have an all torque crew or an all hunt crew. I don't know how
it would be a very crappy crew, but we can.
I mean, for what it's worth, I prefer not to be the same as everybody else. I think there's a spotlight issue that I can't get my head round.
Yeah. And also there will be a lot that we will not be able to do. I always feel like spreading things out is good. Is better.
That's fair. All right. So okay. What was I gonna say? Because all right. So Rob, do you have a preference? Because I don't think your picks overlap with anyone Or
I think I'll go Torque.
cool. All right, so Torque's there. What are your picks again, Param?
Either Haunt or Faint. I think Faint overlaps with what Alan said. Haunt overlaps with what Josh said. I'm also not so much Lindsay. I'm also not so much Fainty. I would say yeah. Let's see what other people pick. I'll hold off.
I've got one on my list nobody else wants. So it boils down to Josh. Do you want Haunt or Fuse? If you go Haunt, Parham could go Faint, and I go Quirk. Or if you've got, if you prefer, if you could rank Fuse and Haunt, that would sort it out, Josh.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. I will say that I'm going to put
Suspense.
Haunt as my top.
Okay.
Apologies.
All the suspense.
So, Parham, if you go Faint,
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna go for Quirk, right?
Well, I was going to. I'm slightly concerned that we have no action-orientated character, particularly. We've got a hacker, a talker, a tinker. So I think I will go Fuse in that sequence. Yeah. Otherwise, I think we're a little bit too ethereal.
Yeah. Like we're like, yeah, it's here is okay. We have all the info except who will actually go
Exactly.
and do the.
Well, I will say with the crew type that you picked, which are comets, which are thieves, they're usually there to get in and get out. I think the crew you're kind of assembling, at least playbook wise, fits very well with the kind of scores you'll be specializing in.
Yeah, like we don't have these heavies who go and
and I would
smash
say it's perfectly fine if there's no one who can. I mean, usually I'd recommend in Forge of the Dark stuff when we get to like assigning action ratings to spread it out. But just because you don't have a combat person doesn't mean that like I'm just gonna be like, oh, you're gonna have to fight through like 10 guys and none of you can fight. Muaha, I'm not gonna do that.
No, but I think that it's fine knowing where the valuables are. It's fine designing tools to do the jobs with. But I think if I go Quirk, I think there's a risk that we will just fall on our faces as soon as we, drop from lines from the sky. So no, I'm very happy with to go with Fuse. I didn't want to be the Merc. I didn't. That wasn't what I was interested in. But I'm very happy with Fuse.
Okay. So to recap, Parham, you're going with Faint. Alan, you're going with Fuse. Josh, you're going with Haunt. And Rob, you're going with the Torque or Lens? Sorry, I forgot it because the Torque, right?
The Torque, yeah.
Hell yeah. Nobody wants to be the Edge. No one wants to be the guy who just beats people up. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's no judgment on y'all. You play whoever you want to play. All right. So, I'm gonna hide these sheets because there's 5 million of them. Goodbye, Quirk. Goodbye, Perfect. You're weird. Yeah, you're really weird. The Perfect gets like drugs and whatnot that they can use. What's up with that? All right. So let's go. I'm gonna leave you all to do character creation. It's in the reference sheets, but I'm gonna go through it with Parham so I can put it into his sheet. But yeah, and I need to look up some glossary because I know there's some stuff that like terms that need to be explained. But yeah, I'll leave you to it. So, but I'm gonna go through it for Parham's sake. And I know there's some questions because like there are some terms there, like in the root. They're like, "What's a dragonfly?" Give me a sec while I find the glossary in the PDF. Oh no, we've lost Rob again. What? That's weird.
Josh, did you hack Rob again? And if you replied, you are muted. Just so you know.
All right, give me a sec while I try to find the terms that need to be explained because there's some terms that are like, what's a dragonfly? What is that? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, so Parm, you've taken the Feint, who is the ephemeral operator. They're not unlike the officer, which is the character you created in that Band of Blades game that we did. Okay, so the first thing to do is choose a playbook. Yeah, we've done that. And the next thing is you're gonna choose a route. A route is kind of like I need to look this up again. Character creation. There we go. A route is like describes how they got to Shelter 1, which is the city we're in. So all PCs start the game in Shelter 1, even though there are other locations and communities outside of it. So routes are kind of like colloquial shorthand for abstracting class positions in the city. So tippers are from the previous generation and kind of contributed to climate change or have been labeled as contributing to climate change. Whether your character actually did it or not is up to you. I will say whatever you pick as route, that will signal kind of like what you want to explore, and also using your route or expressing it in play gets you XP. So it's not like a completely arbitrary choice. So that tippers are from the previous generation. Grasshoppers are refugees who came to Shelter 1 by land. Dragonflies are refugees who made their way to Shelter 1 by water. So supposedly cities that the grasshoppers or dragonflies once inhabited were destroyed due to climate effects. The Forge comes from a community outside.
How would you play these in play? Like, what are the specific? Like, I know that the tippers are kind of labeled as causing the climate change. What about dragonflies and what's the other one? Grasshoppers. What are they?
So grasshoppers came from land. Came to Shelter 1 by land. So like maybe they traveled through like other like ruined cities and experienced like tornadoes or whatnot, or not earthquakes. That's not a weather effect. So like something expressed like, ooh, this is kind of like how you know. It's like if you're bringing like past experiences or whatnot, having to travel either by land or by water.
Right. So it's not like stereotypical behaviors or thoughts or labels like that. Okay.
Yeah. There's other ones. There's the Forge. They're a community outside of Shelter 1. They're like they're specifically like sorry, there's another page we'll get to the Forge later. They're a weird community outside of Shelter 1. There is the Foundation, which means they were here to Shelter 1 since the beginning. Maybe they helped build Shelter 1 was today. Maybe they contributed like unskilled or skilled labor. If a PC is Foundation, that means they're kind of like the highest status someone can be, like in terms of like class, like they were here from the start. And or you can choose unknown if you don't want to choose right away, and you can detail this background later.
Oh, so that's it? That's all the choices?
Yeah, those are the routes.
I think I'll go for Foundation.
Makes sense. Okay, Foundation. We'll detail that later. All right, so after that, where am I in this list? Sorry, just bouncing around this PDF. After that is going to choose a background. The background describes what they did before they joined the crew. So you're going to choose the background and then add a detail about a specific character. So the backgrounds are academic. You're knowledgeable about a specific subject. Maybe you're a professor, a student in a particular field. Labor, someone who's worked in what's called like gene hacked fields or helps build or repair tech, or helps maintain structures. Vast majority of the population Shelter 1 are laborers. Or you could be law. You could have been part of law enforcement. Like used to be like this group. There's this group of law enforcers called Sentinels. Maybe you used to be one of those. They're kind of the authority or boots in the ground for the department that watches over Shelter One.
Yeah.
So maybe you used to work in the machinations, the structure, or whatnot. There's trade. Like you could have been been a business person, or just there's specific trades that are priced at like skilled work, like welders, plumbers, gene hackers. They're the ones who kind of like make sure food is about in Shelter One. You stuff like moving solar panels and all that. Could have been military, which people trained in weapons combat. There's a lot of those, are like just mercenary military organizations, stuff like that. Just soldiers. You could have been an executive. Just you could have been someone who worked quite a bit up in a corporation. Execs are like usually like operation managers for affluent people. They work for some of the corporations. Or you could have been part of the underworld. You always rejected, the city's social structures from kind of the start. Break the law, operate in the shadows, etc.
Okay, I think I'm going to go for the executive.
Cool. And make sure to like write a detail about that specific character. Like, I don't know, what kind of corporation did you work for? Were you high up or low up? Was this like a family thing, or I don't know, any detail you think?
Like the way I'm like the way it's taking form in my head is that I was high up, like not first, like not the C group or whatever you call them, like but the level below that, like I think they're vice presidents, directors, whatever. But then I saw the corruption so I tried to fix the corruption in the what's it called?
Shelter One.
Yeah, and that didn't work. And then I just quit, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go where my hands are not tied, as inside a corporate system, and just do whatever to fix it from the ground up.
Cool. All right. Always like a
quitter?
Not someone with a conscience, not just a quitter. Come on. All right. So each playbook, and the next thing we do is assign action dots. Each playbook comes with each playbook already has a tree. For you, the feint, you have 1 in finesse and 2 in network. Do you want the definitions of what each action rating is?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. All right. So for the first ones, which are insight, there's trace, which is tracking down a target, gathering information about location and movements, or maybe attack with precision fire from a distance, although finesse might be better for that. There's study, which studying a person, document, or item with close scrutiny to like.
Wait. Let me take these. Write these down. Study and finesse. No, sorry. What was the first one you said?
Trace.
Trace. Okay, this is for like hunting people.
Yeah.
Tracking people stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Study is just the Blades in the Dark study, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most of these are like Blades in the Dark, except reskinned. Like the one after study, survey. Just surveying a location, situation, understand what's going on, sense trouble before it happens. One after that is modify. Change mechanisms to create, modify, disable, repair, disable a trap, pick a lock, or tune up a vehicle. Basically it's physical. That's physically changing a thing. And the next is finesse, which you have a action rating on. It's it's finesse an item from someone's pocket, employ subtle misdirection or sleight of hand, maybe handle a vehicle with finesse, that sort of thing. The one after that is ghost, which is the equivalent for prowl here. Ghost about unseen and traverse obstacles, climb, swim, run, jump, etc. Ambush. Then after that is combat. That's basically fisting up, beat people up in close combat, assault or defend a position. Then after that is wreck. Destroy a place, item, or obstacle with savage force or carefully applied sabotage. And then after that is hack. It is, as it says in the tin, circumvent security measures in software. So it's the equivalent of attune. So instead of ghosts, you hack algorithms. You attune to algorithms.
Okay. Yeah. Attune to algorithms. That's nice.
Oh, that's weird. After that is control. That's basically command. Control obedience with your force of personality, intimidate or threaten, lead an action, etc. This is basically the if you have cohorts, this is the you lot, you do as I say action rating. After that is network, which is basically consort. Network with connections, backgrounds, friends, or rivals to gain access to resources. And the last one
they
is
already
sway.
have a 1 in this one, I guess.
Oh, you have 2 in network.
2 in this one, okay.
Yeah, and the last one is sway. So sway is sway someone with charm, logic, deception. You'll be this is the charisma check, so to speak.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So yeah,
And finesse is already at 1, right?
yes. You have 1 in finesse and 2 in network. So you have 3 action dots you can assign. Normally the recommend is like put 1 dot in any action that reflects your character's root, and another and 1 dot in any action that reflects your character's background. But do what you want. You want to put a dot in.
How do roots reflect? How do actions reflect roots? Like
basically, like what did your experiences say that you're better at one thing? Like how is your experiences traveling through land kind of like help you be good enough in like say combat or wreck or ghost that you have 1 action rating in it?
I think network already says that really well because I've grown up here. I've been here for a long time, and my parents know stuff. My family like knows people, so I have because it's foundation, so like I know people. I would that be sensible to make the network 3, or because I feel like 2 is already high?
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can't have rating more than 2 when the character creation.
Yeah, let's put 1 in sway because I feel like I understand the culture of the city because I've been here since the beginning. I know who to put in. I guess also the background works, like the executive. When it comes to like executive, I guess control makes sense. I would put in 1 for sway and 1 for control. Okay. Control is more like I was in a leadership position in the corporation, so I know how to like ask people to do stuff.
And you have 1 more, and you can assign that wherever you want.
Hack doesn't make sense. Does hack make sense?
I will recommend that you put at least 1 in the first 4, just to spread it out. Because
so hack.
I mean the first 4. I want to say trace, study, survey, modify. They're all under the category of insight.
And remember, we've got a hacker.
Yeah. So the reason I was saying hack was because it makes my whole, what do you call them, attributes that you can resist with?
Oh yeah. You can resist when you resist with resolve. You're gonna get 4 dice if you put your last dot in hack. But that means that
doesn't go. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
That does mean that like if I say you have to resist with insight and you have no dice there, you're gonna have to roll 2 and take the lower.
Yeah. So I'm going to So the last category was resolve. The first is insight. What was the second one?
Prowess.
Prowess. Okay. I'm gonna then put in 1 in study.
Cool. All right.
So 1 in study, 1 in finesse, 1 in control, 2 in network, and 1 in sway.
Nice. All right. Cool. And so the next thing you're gonna do. Is you're gonna assign another action dot to reflect cybernetics. So here's like a new thing that Hack the Planet does. You'll notice, and I'll say this for each and everyone. You notice the red box that's on the farthest from each of your action ratings. That will reflect like your cybernetics. So cybernetics are a clear mark of a glitch. So players should think about how their PC got them or why. It's up to the player to choose what their cyberware looks like, how reliable it is, and how it works. Glitches typically have a do-it-yourself kind of work done on themselves. So you're gonna get one more action dot to assign. I'm looking at the wrong one. Make sure like the action dot you're assigning cybernetic wise, make sure to put that in your red box. In the red box there. That's is meant to be there. Yes. So you have one more dot you can assign Param, and that would reflect what kind of cyberware your character has.
So I'm thinking. I think combat. No, should I go for combat?
Up to you.
Let's
Good.
go for combat. I'm thinking like muscle enhancers or speed enhancers.
So Leandro, this could be in something that you have not already put a dot in.
Yeah. So you should have like a total of 7 dots at the start. Yeah, muscle enhancers. Yeah, I'm gonna ask each person as well, like what cybernetics do they have reflects in the which dot they pick. All right, so that's dots for you, Param. The next thing is special ability, which is always fun. I'll go through the list for you for the feint. So, there's a lot. So, okay. The first one for the feint is called Foresight. 2 times per score, you can assist a teammate without paying stress. Tell us how you prepared for this. So you know how usually in Blade style games, to assist, you have to pay stress. But 2 times, you can just say, "Aha! I've foreseen this," and you don't have to pay stress. And you have to tell me it could be something ludicrous, and be like, "Well, you have this ability. I can't make you pay stress because you thought this through somehow. I don't know how you did that." So that's one of the two. The next one is calculating. Due to your careful planning during downtime, you may give yourself or another crew member +1 downtime activity, which is quite good. Which is basically like if someone needs more time to heal, you're like, yeah, I planned our downtime, so you can be very helpful with that. The next one is connected. During downtime, you get +1 result level when you acquire an asset or reduce heat. So basically, like you can, if you're trying to acquire like a nice vehicle or a nice doctor or reduce your heat, it goes up 1 result level. After that is risk averse. When you gather information through a faction you have a positive relationship with, clear 1 stress. I mean, clear stress abilities are always nice. And this ability is basically like you're gonna want to make friends for sure. Next one after that is improvisation. Take 2 stress to change any action roll to finesse instead. Say how you adapt the previous action to this one. So say like, okay, I don't know how you say you're hacking something and you're like
hacking. Yeah, like I quickly just press all the keys and something works. Great.
Yeah, and you just take 2 stress and it'll be fine. And even if like I've already set the position in effect, you can say, "Oh, I'm just going to change it to finesse. It's fine." That's ridiculous. The next one is the myth, the legend. Use 1 downtime activity in order to change any aspect of your physical appearance. When you leverage your reputation against someone, you may spend 1 rep to take 1 plus die to your roll. That's interesting. And the last one,
appearance forever.
I guess, yeah. I mean, you can change it again on another downtime.
Okay.
Yeah. The next one is working an angle. You may expend your special armor to resist a consequence from suspicion or persuasion, or to push yourself when you gather information or work on a long-term project. And the last one is like looking into a mirror. You can always tell when someone is lying to you. That includes PCs. Which one is interesting to you?
I'm going to go for the one where you can clear stress if you go and gather intel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's risk averse.
Yes, that's the one.
But you can only pick one, right? Like
yes,
later on in the game, you can't do 2.
No, when you level up, you can pick another special ability. This is just you just pick one for start to start.
Yes, because like not lying is already in my the like crosshairs.
All right, let me find something in the. Okay, here we go. All right, the next thing is you're gonna choose a close friend or rival. So you're gonna mark one who's a close friend, longtime ally, blah blah blah, and one is a rival, enemy, whatnot. So I mean, folks can make up whoever they want. I'm just gonna read the list that's on the feints sheet for you, Param. So. And each playbook has like a different category. So, like for the fuse, they have shady friends. For the haunt, they have sly friends, and the torque has clever friends. For the feint, they have crafty friends. And I just realized I did something wrong, and the fuse and the feint have the same names on them, and I need to fix that. Whoops, that's my bad.
Leandro, which one's wrong? Do you know? Because I'll change the fuse to match the playbooks if you like.
Yeah, the fuse is the one that's wrong. That's my bad.
Right. Leave that to me. I'll change them.
Okay, that's my bad. For the feint, okay, so your list of crafty friends is Elsa, data broker, Louise, an aspiring flicker. What the hell's a flicker? Oh, I'll find out what a flicker is.
What is a flicker?
I think it's a misprint.
What's a misprint?
I have seen a few misprints in this PDF. Let me tell you. Hold on. There's a list of terms. A flicker is a private investigator known for wearing a particular fashion, usually in trench coats that temporarily make them invisible. That's what a flicker is. That's why they flicker. Yeah. They are a faction. You could be friends with them if you want. Noah, a gene hacker. Gene hackers are scientists who hack genes. They work genetic coding, etc., etc. Usually they hack produce so they can get better yield from them. So they're farmers.
What about the data? What was the first one? Data? What is?
Data broker.
So like they just get paid to steal data, or?
Yeah, they have data. Yeah, like they're like informants. You come to them like, hey, do you know what's happening in this sector, etc., etc. Okay. After that is Chang Ying, who is a glitch front. What does that mean? Basically, they are someone who like helps people get off the grid. Glitchers are people who are off the grid, have hacked their nanites. They help them. And then there's Yelena, who's just a lookout. It just says lookout. Make of that whatever you will.
Okay, I'm going for the flicker. What's her name?
Luis.
Oh, is that a man or a woman?
Up to you. If you want to change their name, I'm fine as well with that.
No, but I mean, is that a he or a she? Because
Luis is a male name, as far as I know.
Okay, great.
So, are they a friend or a rival?
A friend.
Okay, cool. A friend.
Oh, and my rivals come from the same list too, right?
Yes.
Is the convention that the first column is the friend, the second column is the rival?
Yes. In the sheet they're arrows, but in the actual character sheet they're arrows, but here in the character keeper they're just boxes because.
What's a dipper? Oh, better still, tell me where the glossary is in the book.
Okay, they're under terms. They're on page 44.
Thank you.
But since this is recorded, I'll just say right now, a dipper is someone who uses technology to hook into the corporate communications looking for information to sell. I think they're a faction. All right, so who do you want as a rival?
Which ones were the right box, like the rivals box, or can I just pick anyone?
Oh, you can pick anyone.
I'm going to go for the glitch front. Although, wait, I don't even know how that could be interesting. I'm going to go for I think the lookout probably entails some information also. So will make sense. Like they have some information that I don't, or they try to get information that I don't, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, that makes
And
sense.
what was the lookout's name?
Yelena.
Yeah, that's Yelena.
All right, so okay, that's the closer. So next you're gonna choose your vice. Yeah, of course, vice are the things you do to unwind in downtime. That's how you get rid of stress most of the time. You know, PCs are special out. They push themselves. They got stress, but this lifestyle's taxing, comes with a cost. So you have a vice you turn to in downtime. So the types of vice, and you get to detail what exactly this entails. But first, there's faith. You're dedicated to some sort of unseen power, forgotten god, or an ancestor, or something you look up to. There's gambling, games of chance, betting on sporting events, etc. There's luxury, like expensive or ostentatious displays of opulence, like having a nice dinner in a nice restaurant, or shopping for jewels. I don't know. I don't have money.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can relate to this. Obligation, you're devoted to a family, a cause, organization, charity, etc. Pleasure, your gratification from like food, drink, drugs, art, theater, lovers, etc. Stupor, seek oblivion in the abuse of drugs, drinking to excess, getting beaten to a pulp in the fighting pits, if that's your thing. And weird, experiment with strange technologies, network with rogue AI, observe acts of God, etc. Want to do that?
Network with rogue AI. Huh. I'm thinking, should I go for that or pleasure? Okay, I think I'm going to go for the okay, obligations.
All right. Where am I? Okay, cool. Obligation. So what exactly is like you do to like, and reminder, this is like what you do to unwind in between like scores, your jobs.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I do like after I quit and then became a glitch is I go among the like all the glitch, especially in this refugee area, and observe how their lives are, how they have improved or got worse, and anything, and stuff like that. And it makes me feel useful for existing, if that makes sense. Like I get to see the results of what I'm doing on ground zero, and how that changes people's lives. So this is just me self-validating all the time, if that makes sense. Does that make
makes
sense?
sense. That makes sense with your background and where you're coming from. All right.
And awesome. Everyone says I'm awesome, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right. So the last thing is just your name, pronouns, alias, and look.
Pronouns is he and him. Do we have name generators or suggested names?
For the fate, let me see. There is like a big list. It's a long list, but like I'm down for whatever you come up with. Let me find.
Can you read like 4 or 5? I will probably pick one of the 4 or 5 on the first ones that you read.
Okay. Lincoln, Ezekiel.
Okay, Lincoln, fine.
All right, Lincoln. All right, cool. Lincoln. Oh, I accidentally wrote Lincoln with a 0 instead of an O to make it more hacksaw lead speech. No, he's not gonna have that. Don't worry. I'm gonna make him do that.
That's how my screen reader would probably call it. Link Zeron. It's like what?
Lid 0. All right. Do you have an alias, like cool hacker alias?
Link?
Some of the examples here, like Chime, Link, Null, Spark, Mouse, Riddle, Alloy.
I like Link.
Link? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're Lincoln alias Link. No one's gonna connect the two of you.
No, and also like that goes well with the actual playbook, linking people to people and things.
That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Yeah. And look, well, we can. I'm gonna make you describe them when we show up. When they show up
Yeah.
on camera,
Yeah.
so to speak. So, all right, and yeah, that's it. That's it for your character. Is everyone
Thanks a lot
else?
for helping me through this.
No worries. No worries. That's fine. All right. How's everyone doing? With their characters? Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to shout out if you all have questions. Cool.
So, if I've understood it, we should have 6 dots plus the cyberware.
Yes. So a total of 7.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna introduce characters, and then go through the crew stuff, and then we're gonna take a break. Cool. Give you like maybe let me look through these, see how they're doing. Ooh. That's really fun.
Unless I'm missing it, the reference sheets have loads of stuff, but don't have the skill list. Or am I missing it?
Well, what do you mean by skill list?
Sorry, the definition of what the actions do.
Oh, yes, they're not on the reference sheet. Are they not?
If you hover over them on the character keeper, it should.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Josh. That works.
Yep.
Somebody else obviously noticed they're not on the reference sheet.
Yeah. The nice thing with that, again, the blade sheet that I copied these off is it had those. Someone put a lot of care and attention to that blades sheet and the gauntlet plates, which is very nice of them. Apparently, their name has been lost to time, which is a shame. Weird to say that on the internet, but that did happen. Okay. All right, so I'll give folks like 3 more minutes to wrap things up. If folks need more time, it's fine. But like, yeah, 5 past, we'll introduce these characters. I think I'm.
I have a weird question. Is there a shelter too?
Ooh. Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It's like were there plans for a shelter too? Like, why is the shelter 1? Does that explain anything in the book?
Play to find out.
It opens the route to a supplement.
Maybe. I mean,
that's the cynical answer.
The shelter 2 is just like underwater, where you are being buffeted by waves from every side.
Maybe.
And you have to live in a submarine instead. If he decides to incorporate this idea, I'm getting part of the Kickstarter money, by the way.
like a whole 5% or
Yeah.
Oh no, we've lost Rob again.
This is how you make 10 billion euros, as I initially said.
As you said, yeah. This is how you start with your 1 billion euros off indie RPG Kickstarter money. Yeah.
And they obviously make billions.
Obviously, yeah. Have you seen how well Root is doing?
I'm just skimming along the characters to see if there's anything missing that I could use a dot in or move a dot to.
Mm-hmm.
And Does everyone start with 6 plus a cyber,
Yes.
or does it vary?
Oh no, everyone should have at least 6 plus a cyber.
At least 6. So it
Yeah,
could
no,
be-
that's what you start with. Actually, not at least, but like that's what you start. 6 plus a cyber.
okay.
But what do you mean looking at other characters to see what you can move your
Well,
dots?
I want to cover all the options.
Okay.
That would be good because I'm in a scum and villainy game, and one person noticed that no one had a point in Helm, which is the pilot the ship thing, and that's a game about having a ship. And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take a point because y'all are like talkers or fighters. We don't have a pilot, so I'm gonna take that point." And then he had to drop out of the campaign because of work. So now we're screwed. So pilot wise.
Yeah.
I will say, like, folks can roll any of those action ratings. The thing is, to get dice, you're gonna have to, like, do a bunch of stuff, either push yourself or accept a devil's bargain. Or in this game, it's called a ripple. I don't know why. The mark of a fortune, a dark hack is they immediately start making up weird names for whatever the devil's bargain is meant to be.
So
Okay, I'm happy. I think we've got at least a dot in everything.
yeah. And so when it comes with the ship thingies, is there an action to drive those? I didn't see that anywhere.
Oh, the airship.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like this.
I guess there's no specific action rating to drive. I think it depends on what you're gonna make the airship do. Like you need to like move it around the skyscrapers. That's like a finesse or something like that.
Yeah, finesse is the drive.
Yeah. Or maybe you need to move it stealthily in the middle of a tornado. That's like a ghost, that sort of thing.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, it does say finesse, handle a vehicle or a mount.
Yeah. I mean, I could say, the nice thing with these action ratings, that's a suggestion, but in the book, when they're going through like each of these in like quite some detail, like each action rating gets like a page of like, oh, here's kind of what it looks like, where controlled or whatnot. They can say like, oh, maybe finesse if you need to like move through here, but if you're like moving stealthily, oh, maybe it's a ghost, or maybe if you need to smash this airship against another airship, that's a wreck or something like that. And it would depend on like what sort of rating I give you. So there could be stuff like, oh, you want to smash this thing to an airship, and you want to, and that sounds like a combat. Well, actually, no, I don't say what action rating you should roll. I ask you what action rating you want to roll, then I'll tell you the position and effect. And I can say like, okay, this sounds like desperate limited because this is an airship, it's ridiculous. Or we can negotiate like what action ratings you're gonna use for that, and I might change some rating or the position and effect and whatnot. So it's all about kind of like the negotiation. I've heard some folks say like that's why to run blades you shouldn't roll more than 5 times per score or whatever. I don't know who these people are. That's what I've heard. I don't know. Apparently, blades just written
per score. It doesn't. What do you mean by not rolling more than 5 times per score?
as in like a score. I've heard that blades was written so that you can do like multiple scores per session. So you're like in and out because there's quite a bit of negotiation with the dice rolls. Like you don't get too bogged down with that. Oh, I just got a message from Rob. Froze again, trying to get back in. All right, I'll give him 2 more minutes and then we'll introduce characters and go through the crew. Yeah, I'm looking through these characters. They seem really cool. And then finally we'll sort the actual crew sheet out. All right. Okay, you know what? I think we've been here for like more than an hour for sure. Let's take like a 5 minute break. Get folks stepping away from computers. Stretch, get some water, whatnot. I'll message that to Rob as well. Hopefully he'll be back when we come back. So let's take 5, folks. Cool. BRB. Sorry, Rob, we're taking a break right at the moment. We were taking a break to let you give time for you to come back in, but we're in the middle of the break now, so come back at 5.
All right.
But don't do anything to your computer.
Explain to me how Vice works and Purveyor.
Basically,
I think I know.
Vice. Yeah, Vice is basically how you get rid of stress in between scores, and Purveyor is who you go to get rid of Vice. All right, I think everyone's back. Parham, are you back? Oh, give him another minute or so.
I can never make this work. Explain to me how I could insert something from that Pinterest board into my character sheet, if that's
Ooh.
possible.
Where do you want to insert that?
I thought somewhere in notes, but I don't.
Ooh, okay,
Or
so
is
you go
my
to
best
insert.
bet to download it somewhere?
You can go to insert and
Yeah.
you go to image. Let's say because that cell is not big enough, go image over cells.
Yeah.
And then let's see. You can either upload one or by URL. I think if you're gonna put one from a Pinterest board, you can go by URL and just paste the image URL there. I think hopefully that will work. Yeah, I know. If I have some time, I'll figure out like how to design a.
I think that because it's wrapped up in Pinterest, it's not particularly interested in it. I've tried
Ooh.
copy the link from the picture. I'll try downloading it. It's okay.
I had this problem with Pinterest. I think what you do is like you want to like right click on the image and let me double check how to do it. Go to Pinterest.
Copy link address?
No, you don't want that. You're gonna want to open image in new tab.
Aha.
Yeah, you're gonna want a link that ends with JPEG or PNG.
Okay.
All right. Parham, are you back?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So, deals with image stuff. Let's introduce these characters. Let's go reverse clockwise. Aha, swerved, yeah. And introduce these characters. So, what I want is like just name, alias, their root background, their vice is, their general deal, and also like where their cybernetics are. So start with you, Rob. Tell us about our Torque.
So I'm playing Colleen Cohen. She is known by Mellow to most people because she's anything but. She's got a sort of cranky, gruff personality. She's a refugee from a place that is called Mallville, otherwise known as Settlement 33, to the corporate types. It was a mall, like back in before the the climate crisis, and it was snow. The area was afflicted by heavy snow, so they were kind of isolated. And she was the daughter of the person, a sort of legacy position there that was basically the person who kept all of the tech in the mall running. And basically active nature. Is it active nature, active God we're calling them?
Act of God.
Yeah, active God came down and forced everybody to leave. and that's how she ended up at Shelter 1.
Cool. What's their vice?
Her vice is to it's an obligation to her fellow refugees from Settlement 33. So she will check in on them and try and do whatever she can to help them if they're having some problems.
Makes sense. She seems very nice. Who's her friend and rival?
Her friend is Shira, who runs a chop shop. Basically gets spare parts and stuff from them. And her rival is Sanvi, scavenger or somebody who she has encountered actually trying to steal stuff from the mall back in the before it was wiped out.
Cool. Well, not cool, but cool in the sense of here's some stuff to explore. I'll stop talking. Lastly, so what point in cybernetics did you take, and what kind of cybernetics does Colleen have to reflect that?
I took a point in survey. Basically, she's got a cybernetic ear. I think that there was some of the debris cut her ear off, and she got replaced. There was some flying debris in the gale force winds.
Wow. I don't want to deal. Don't have to run into those sort of winds. We might. Who knows? Yeah. I think that's it for Colleen. When we do crew, I'm gonna circle back and kind of like ask how y'all came to this crew. But we'll do that after we sort out the crew sheet. So think about that. So next, Josh, tell us about our haunt.
Yes. So the haunt is named Dasha Becker, alias Nova. So Dasha Nova, I guess probably realistically is what you will be calling her, she, her pronouns, so her root is forged. She was previously from a community outside of Shelter 1 called Silk Falls, which is a desert settlement which specializes in gene hacking plants, trying to create more sustainable food. She first entered Shelter 1 in order to engage in corporate espionage on behalf of Silk Falls, to steal corporate gene hacking advancements and return them to her own commune, I guess. But that sort of fell through, and she began just... so that didn't work out too well for anyone involved. And she never did end up returning to Silk Falls. Vice and Purveyor. So her vice is luxury dining, actually. Like, she was raised in this community and she lives in this community, which is dedicated to, or she doesn't live, but she lived in this community, which was dedicated to gene hacking conservation and using resources wisely and creating resources that are more efficient for the world that we live in. And as sort of a separation from that, she got into the habit of fine dining when she came to Shelter One and started working for corporate interests. So she likes going to very upscale restaurants and experiencing, like weird culinary experiences. That is the vice.
I was gonna ask, what does fine dining look like in this city?
I'm willing to say that it is very expensive. For one, it's incredibly expensive. I think it probably utilizes gene hacking for a lot of like modifying bases instead of doing that entirely with the actual cooking. I feel like there probably are like proprietary strains of gene hacked produce from a restaurant to restaurant. Possibly lab grown meat, maybe. I think definitely less common. That's the most expensive option. Has a meat course.
Of course.
But yeah, it's similar to fine dining today. Nice restaurants, small plates. Probably more of a many small things than one big thing.
They'll have a high yield. It's fine.
Yeah.
I keep imagining these lettuces which have been genetically engineered to taste like they have dressing on them, but they don't really. That kind of stuff.
So yeah, tell us about your ally and your rival then, Dasha.
Yes. So my ally is Timeo, who is a corrupt sentinel. Sentinels being, from my understanding, the corporate law enforcement of this setting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Timeo, I think, is someone that a deal was cut with when she entered the city at, in a corporate espionage mode, and after going legit and then going not legit again, that relationship has been maintained. And then my rival is Gem, who is a porter, who are people who transport things to settlements outside of Shelter One. And I think that Gem is also a person from Silk Falls, who knows that I came to Shelter One in order to steal gene hacking secrets for Silk Falls, and also knows that I abandoned that.
Yeah, you had your tiny lettuces you had to eat.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, you do you. Here's hoping Gem isn't that truly outrageous. I had to make the joke. All right, and the last thing is, where did you take your cybernetics point?
So I took my cybernetics point in Wreck. I am thinking that is sort of as a precaution in order to avoid being traced on the hardware scale. I think that I have an implant to deposit small, like to just in, I would say probably I have some replacement in like my hand. Good place to be able to like manipulate stuff with. And I would be willing to say that it is some form of minorly powerful explosive. just like a little pellet bomb that I can drop off in the inside of a computer, and you're not really going to get anything off of that.
Oh my god. God. Love this. Fine wine. dining. That's not a word. Fine wine dining. That's not a combination of words. Yeah, some spicy seasoning from Dasha on them fools. Anyway, cool. So that's our haunt. Thanks very much, Josh. Up next, Alan, tell us about our fuse.
So yes, our fuse is the deadly and stealthy infiltrator. I guess it's not entirely clear whether he's a thief or an assassin. His name is Shadow. His alias is Shadow.
Nice.
He has a wiry physique, but he invariably hides that under a voluminous poncho and hood that leaves his face in shadow. In terms of his roots, he keeps those to himself. Thank you very much. So his root is unknown at this point. May be revealed in play. His background is law, because he might have been, inverted commas, official once. His vice, he has a weird vice, and it's purveyed by Suki, host of the abbreviated grief in the lower levels of Shelter 1. And abbreviated grief is where people leave engrams of their personality. So you can literally speak to the dead at abbreviated grief. Quite why he wants to speak to the dead is unclear, as is so much about him. But yes, that's how he spends his downtime, talking to dead people.
At least he just talks to them.
At least.
Remarkable what you can do with virtual reality now.
Yeah, yeah.
What else can I tell you, Leandro?
Well, tell us about your friends or rivals.
Okay. My friend is Catalina Adipa. And I think Adipa is someone who accesses data, dips into the data stream, takes bits of data out, and I think, is that from Altered Carbon? And sells it on. My less friendly, shady friend is Avni, an antiquarian. Avni has a shop in the mid levels of Shelter 1, where he purveys artifacts from before the fall, so to speak. I think probably he once employed me to steal something, and has never forgiven me for failing. Or if I did get it, I brought some grief his way. I'm not certain yet. He and I may have to have a chat about that.
Well, hopefully you'll hash it out. He seems lovely. And lastly, what's the cybernetic point you took, and how does that reflect in this cyber?
Okay. I took a cybernetic point in Trace to complement the one that I took as a dot anyway. And the way I've explained this in my look is a brain implant processing sensory information for enhanced pattern recognition and target acquisition. So if you think of what, Trace is the ability to target, gather information about location and movements, attack with precision from a distance, then the implant allows him enhanced observation, I guess. If he's looking at a scene, he's able to milk it for information rather more effectively than without the implant. Okay?
Makes sense. So that's our mysterious infiltrator. Seems very fitting. And lastly, I guess, do we still need to introduce Lincoln, since we kind of went through his entire character creation, but we might as well.
Yeah, Lincoln is Lincoln. His alias is Link. He likes to link people to things and link people to people. He's really good at gathering information, going up to people, asking them to do stuff, persuading them to gather information and stuff like that. He used to be a vice president in a corporation. I haven't come up with a name. Let's just call it Zero Tech. I don't know. That just came out of nowhere. And which he tried to make the city a better place through that corporation. That didn't work because he just figured that the layers at the very top were not really happy with that, because that didn't mean money. So he just quit and decided to do it at the ground level. His friend is what's his name? Louise, who taking notes pays off. Who's a flicker, and flickers are kind of like detectives, as far as I know. They gather information and all of that. And his rival is Yelena, and she is a lookout. And the reason they are rivals is they have this competition for who knows more, or like who can outdo the other, or who can do something or know something that the other one doesn't. His vice is his obligation to the people of Shelter One. He likes to go to the place where you have all the glitches and kind of like the refugee areas, and see how the work that he or the crew are doing, how that's affecting people's lives. And my single point of what was it? Cybernetics is in combat. And the way I imagine this is like, it's very like, it's internal. It's not like possible to see it like from outside, but it has like muscle enhancements and reflexes. And I think that was like what Lincoln had this installed when he got to be more like a street level person. He was more like the sit back and work in a corporate environment where people don't punch each other in the face as an everyday occurrence. But when he got out, he was like, this doesn't feel safe. So he just paid someone to install the cybernetics.
That makes sense. All right. So okay, I'll say a heads up. Depending on how long we take to drop this crew, we might. I don't know if we'll have time to like get into a bit of play. I'll probably have an opening scene, and we're just gonna go into that next session. Depending on how. Well, I mean, apologies, computer stuff. It happens. Thankfully, we have 5 sessions. Hold on to that. 5 goddamn sessions. All right, so let's go through crew creation. So y'all pick comets, which are, again, I'll remind folks, are the people who dive from airships to scavenge and steal, focusing on extractions, espionage, sabotage, and theft. That's amazing. So the crew type is also how you're known in the underworld. Like, oh yeah, they're the comets. They're the folks who steal things or get things out of things. So all right, the crew begins with 2 jewels. Again, jewels are the kind of they're the equivalent of coin or cred in the game. They're also in fiction. They're like sheets of, well, not sheets, but like, you know, like bars of metal that is actually charged with energy and electricity. That's how people like power their homes or whatnot. And they can also be used to power certain weapons. The thing is, it's going to cost you a jewel or 2. So that's kind of what they are in fiction. So we started 2. Let's mark that. You are tier 0 with a stronghold and 0 rep. Sorry, just starting out, I guess. All right. So the first thing you're going to choose is an initial reputation. Because there's a separate crew XP sheet, a tracker. You earn XP when the PCs bolster the crew's reputation. Think of the rep as like another flag for the sort of action you want in the game. So there is a list that's like the recommendations. I'll just read them out, but you can create your own reputation if you want. And I think this is gonna kind of hone into like how did each character get involved with an airship crew. So the list of the reputations are ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, or strange? I'll say off the bat, you don't strike me as a strange crew.
No, I think we're professionals.
I also like professional. Like professional meaning high standards of success or like high standards of accuracy. Is that a fair definition?
Well, that's certainly what you tell them when you get them to hire us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you better live live up
Yeah,
to that.
that's really weird. Like, hey, we are a strange crew. You should hire us. Like,
I mean, yeah, if you're strange, you do strange stuff. But if you're professional, it's like, you get the job done. And there's no tomfoolery, like you're not going to stab your employers in the back, that sort of thing.
yeah. What do you think, Josh and Rob?
Yeah, I like professional. I think that fits well with the characters that we've developed.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. I'll write that down. So professional. So you gotta stick to it. Well, you can cultivate a new reputation over time, but but professional sounds really good. Yeah.
So you said that we earn XP for the crew whenever we act proficiently.
Yeah, when you bolster your crew's reputation, that's
Okay.
how you get crew XP.
Okay.
Which is fun. All right. So, and the other thing you're gonna decide on is let me double check actually, because it says here decide on a base, and then I just realized do comets have to have they must have a weird base.
I'm on page 66, I think, and it says base airship, base secure.
Ooh, yeah, your base is the crew's airship. There, okay, there we go. Yes,
Yay! This is awesome.
Okay, all right. We'll figure out how y'all get off or on that in a minute.
Yeah.
Are you putting this into the Comet sheet?
I put in professional, not to put in base. The airship is already marked in the upgrades. We'll get to that in a minute, but like I'll put it.
I'm not seeing anything.
Are you not?
In oh, there it's just turned up. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not putting anything in base yet. I'll just put in the fucking airship for now, and I'll clear it up later. There's like 4 exclamation marks there. We'll put in something more professional.
Can I stress secure airship?
Oh, yes. Yeah. You write that down. It's your airship.
Do we have an insecure airship? What's the?
One of the upgrades you can get for your crew is your base is secure, and that comes with the comet. Like that's one of the upgrades you get at the start.
So secure means people can't break into it, or it's harder for people to break
It's harder, yeah. Your base has crypto lock protection, alarms, and surveillance to thwart intruders. You can get a second upgrade that improves defenses to include protection against hacking or other means of probing.
Yeah.
So at the very least, your airship is not going to be stolen as easily as other more loser comet crews.
Yeah. And we have Dasher who will dash them off pretty quickly, probably.
I mean, how do you think we got this airship?
Ooh, there's some questions I think for like upgrades for that. So we'll hold on for that for now. First, the next thing we establish is your hunting grounds. The crew is brand new, but has a small hunting ground. This is the area the crew usually targets for scores. The crew's hunting grounds don't have to be in the same area as the base, which is good because your base moves around. This area is small, only 3 or 4 city blocks, but it's still an intrusion on someone. So how we determine that is basically there are different operation types. For each crew sheet. For the comets, it's extractions, espionage, sabotage, or theft. So we can pick one of those, and those are the ones you kind of specialize at your hunting grounds. I mean, you can do all those types of scores, but like the one you specialize on, you get like extra stuff when you do scores on preferred type.
So do you all think we should target corporations, or do you think we should target a really crappy faction?
I think the question is what kind of missions we want. So it doesn't define the target at this point. I think we're talking
Okay.
about extractions, espionage, sabotage, and theft.
There are like further definitions for those if you need more help. So extractions are, providing a method of egress and safety for people or something valuable. Espionage is, acquiring data, both hidden or secure through covert action. Sabotage is render a target inoperable or destroyed. And theft is, stealing something that does not belong to you. Not usually with force, but it could happen.
I like extractions. Maybe like rescue work or something along those lines.
Okay.
Okay. So we have
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Cool. All right.
I'm also so what about sabotage?
Well, that means you can still do like sabotage stuff. It's just that you have a favored operation type. So like when you do extractions, you're gonna get like a +1 die to your engagement roll.
Okay.
So in the short term, we'll be doing extractions.
Yeah.
Yes. When you acquire turf, you can expand like the size and type of hunting ground, so you can get more stuff. Okay, but here's the thing. The entire city is divided among larger, stronger factions, and the GM will tell you, well, GM himself, which faction claims the area that you're using for your hunting grounds, for your extractions. And let me look through the faction sheets. Who would you probably be pissing off? Well, not piss off. We'll figure out right now if you piss them off or not.
Well, is this also like Blaze in the Dark, where we choose an area in the city, like we or not?
Technically, there is a map in the reference tables.
Yeah, that's why I was like, are we targeting like corporations or because I feel like probably there are like areas where a separate faction. Like, do we want to say, hey, let's piss off this faction, and do we want to go like that, or do you want to look up something similar for us?
I would be interested to see what y'all are interested in, like where these hunting grounds are. Like, are you pissing off corporations? Are you crapping on the backyard of other criminal factions?
Well,
go ahead, Josh.
If our hunting ground is where we are executing these extractions,
Mm-hmm.
It seems, well, I don't know. It seems to me, just like my immediate thought would be that corporations are probably more likely to go in for extractions. And also, it seems more likely that corporations would care enough to extract someone from a corporate holding than so much like if it's a slum, then Nourish can just level that and no one really.
Oh, damn you, Nourish. Let's see. I'm looking through these factions. Which would be like the most interesting to tangle with immediately? Feel free to. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, it could be the corporation that our most recent job dealt a blow to. That would give us a corporation to be pissed off at us, or it could be competitors. Those seem to me to be the logical ones. I think it's difficult to say that all corporations are pissed off at us, because in which case no corporation would hire us to extract somebody from another corporation.
Yeah, and I will say, like in this setting, there are like 3 mega corporations, and maybe like some smaller entities. There are way more criminal factions than there are corporations for sure. Let's say like, okay, go ahead on.
I was just going to, I think in session 0, I'm not sure I want to pick one of the 3 biggest corporations in the place to be our problem. I was thinking maybe there's a Pizza Hut that we annoyed.
Let's say you're in the turf of, let's see.
And by the way, just for my understanding, would sentinels be too big to annoy? Are they like
They're tier 3. You're tier 0.
Okay,
Yeah,
makes sense.
let's find a nice tier 1 competitor.
Okay.
There's like these group of thugs like who seem to be having a chop shop, I think.
Ooh, let me see.
Exhaust.
Exhaust. Regressive futurist street thugs that run a chop shop and facilitate illegal races.
Like maybe our airships just mess up with their stuff.
With their vehicles?
Yeah, but I don't know. Or maybe we have information on them that is like making them unhappy.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at all the weak ones and they're not really exciting.
Well, this is just the area. I mean, you may or may not have to contend with them. I'm just gonna pick one because it says GM says. Sorry, I'm actually exercising my fiat. I don't care what interests you. I have interest too.
It's all right.
I feel so bad to say that.
Sorry, the one above exhaust. I think that makes sense. Like rookie stigma, like
society
people who want.
Okay.
What? Sorry.
Oh yeah, society of horticulturists slowly infiltrating the gardens of the rich, hungry for bloody nefarious revenge. What a
So the way I think about this is like you're going to bring the whole security forces of the corporations down on all of us, you idiots. That's that's how I think about that. Like it's not good for anyone if these people just go into the gardens of the rich and start stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. It's gonna be like it's going to be one day these three corporations will just put all the money together and wipe us off. Like bam.
The extra thing as well is like you play the players get to decide like how you deal with whichever faction claims their hunting ground. So there's 3 options. You can pay them off, give them a jewel in exchange for giving you room to work. Pay the faction, you give them your 2 jewels, and you only have 2 jewels, as a show of respect, and you gain +1 status with them. Or you can pay them nothing, and you take a -1 status.
Can I be clear about hunting ground, Leandro? I mean, we're talking about it as though it's a physical location.
It's
and that's going to be tricky for us, isn't it? Because that's if we're in extraction, then we'll go where the work is. That otherwise, there's no point being as mobile as we are. Which is I suppose what I'm thinking about is who would be pissed off by what we do, not where we do it.
I think what kind of like how at least for you, because you're an airship, what the hunting ground implies is that like if you do extraction at this particular part, you'll it's favored. You'll do well. Not going to limit you to like working outside. I think because especially since a lot of the crews in this game are like quite mobile. So hunting ground is defined as the area that the crew usually targets for scores. So.
Okay. And does the kind of grade of the faction relate to their location? Because it certainly seems to be layered.
Oh yeah, I think definitely if you go down by tiers,
because there are 5 tiers, aren't there? Physical tiers in the map.
Yeah, there are 5 tiers in the map, and there's like 5 tiers. Tier is also kind of like how strong they are.
Okay, so would it be sufficient to say that we do our work in tier 2?
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say like in terms of tiers, you are tier 0 in terms of strength. I'm not sure if like tiers actually physically translate to the city itself. But you can contend with tier 2 factions. I mean, there is nothing stopping you from contending with a tier 5 faction.
Yeah, I get that. I just don't want to set a tier 5 as our logical adversary in session 0.
The thing is, they could be adversaries, they could be not. It's up to you if you want to pay them.
How else do we describe a geographic hunting ground if not by tier?
That would actually like a literal tiered city. That actually would be cool to like explore. Now that I think about it, yeah. All right,
I mean,
I'm
one
just gonna.
thing that we could
Okay.
do is just pick a faction like tier 5, pay them 2 of the jewels, and then now we have a +1 with a really strong faction.
I mean, if you want to do that, there's like 4 tier 5 factions. They're all the big corporations,
I mean,
along with the council.
it's good to have someone strong behind you.
Um, if I have to decide, like, just because I'm
Please
deciding.
decide, Leandro.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna say the you mostly work around the area where the flickers are. They're the private investigators dedicated to ferreting out the truth for the disenfranchised, with pro freedom of information leanings. They're the ones with the trench coats that can turn invisible, and y'all are some friends with some of them. At least one of you are friends with one of them. So that's what I'm deciding anyway. So if you want to pay them off in exchange for giving you room to work, it's 1 jewel. Pay the faction 2 jewels as a show of respect, and you gain +1 status with them, or you pay them nothing and you take a -1.
I think we should pay them 1. We only have 2.
I think 1 makes sense.
But don't we need their like truth hunting skills?
I mean, I feel like we can hunt for truth, should
Okay.
need be.
And what do you think, Rob?
Yeah, let's pay them 1.
1? All the stingy people in one crew. How's
Hey,
that?
we need our jewels too, man.
For the airships. Oh,
Yeah,
how
bear
many
in mind we will need to fuel the airship on occasion.
Oh
Yeah,
you the comet does come with an extra thing, which is fuel. You start with 2, don't worry, but after each score you consume 1. So that's something to look out for. All right, so you work with the flickers. At least they seem to tolerate you. Next is we choose a special ability for the crew. You start with 1. Each crew starts with this 1, and how you deal with acts of God. That ability for Param is Solar Punk. You've devised a special method to extract components from acts of God to make a viable form of fuel. So you take 3 stress to use this specialized method after you overcome the act of God as an obstacle. So there is a way to grab fuel. So you start that with by default. I'll read out the rest again for Param. Next one of that is
1 now?
yeah, you're picking 1 now. You already got Solar Punk. That's the one
Yeah,
you start with that. The next one is True the Ringer. Each PC may add +1 action rating to Ghost, Finesse, or Modify, up to a max rating of 3. So that ignores everyone is stuck at 2 ratings. There's Natural Element. When you use an act of God as cover on a score, take +1d to your engagement roll and -1 heat after the score. There's Exosuits. You devise your own kind of armor, effective in low orbit jumps as well as combat. Only marking your first use of armor counts towards your load on the score. Heavy armor is free. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. After that is park rats. Did I write that wrong? Right?
It's got to be pack rats.
It has to be pack rats. Why did I park rats? What's up with that? Okay. Anyway, the ability is your airship contains a jumble of stolen items. When you roll to acquire an asset, take +1d. You just keep stolen items in your ship. What the fuck? Yeah, it has. Okay. After that is Tempting Fate. When you execute a score by leaping from your aircraft, you may choose to start with a risky position and instead spend each engagement roll die during the score to take +1d to a roll. Okay, that's ridiculous. So basically, we go through the whole how many dice for an engagement roll, and then you can be like, nah, fuck it. We start risky. We can use that dice for later. If the score is jumping off, if you start the score by jumping off from an aircraft. So that's ridiculous.
You can start anything jumping out of an aircraft if you're bold.
And why did we take an airship if it wasn't because we wanted to jump out of it?
Oh, there's 2 more abilities. Let's get through those first. Next one after that is slippery. When you roll entanglements, you can roll twice and keep the one you want. When you reduce heat on the crew, take +1d. That's simple enough. And the last one is synchronized. When you perform a group action, you may count multiple 6s from different rolls as a critical success. So usually when you do group action, if one person rolls a 6, another person rolls a 6, which means you get a normal 6. But if one person rolls a 6 and another rolls a 6, that counts as a critical. So that seems simple enough. But yeah, what's interesting, folks?
I think synchronized goes really well with the fact that we're professionals. Also, the jumping off the ships thing, like that gives us more like the feeling of these people just swoop in and do stuff.
Can,
What do you guys think?
can I just test how we think we do a job? Is there going to be a time when all 4 of us, or more than 2 of us even, are going to be at the sharp end? Again, just looking at the skill sets, I have this horrible feeling that I am going to be the person leaping off the airplane while you provide technical backup. So my nervousness about the synchronized is there's an assumption there that you lot are regularly going to get your hands dirty at the sharp and dangerous end.
Well, I think we sort of all have to hop off together. I think it's sort of we're all hopping in or no one's hopping in, because it seems to me as though I think the hacker needs to have a physical, or the haunt needs to have be connected, right, physically to their whatever they're hacking.
Yeah, so you can't stay in an airship and just bam bam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the face has gotta, if you have the Feint who is this charismatic operator, then you gotta be on the ground. You're not gonna pull out your StreamYard connection and live stream them in.
Okay,
I mean,
maybe I've just been scarred by too much time playing Cyberpunk 2020 in the 90s. I've been at the shitty end of the stick with a bunch of techs and hackers before.
look, you're safe now. We're away from whatever our Talsorian has committed on.
But like, I do understand that synchronized is for group actions, meaning that we should all be, as far as if I remember this correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong. Group actions are where everyone is rolling the same thing or trying to do the same thing.
Yes.
Which means we will all need to do combat or finesse or survey or something, which is probably not going to happen. I agree with Alan. Like, I don't see a way of because we're very spread out. We all have our own niches, so it's not really possible to, like, in a wide array of cases, to do Yeah, go ahead.
Because I do want to sleeping off airplanes. I'll be honest with you, but I think accepting a risky position on impact makes me nervous.
Well, the thing is, the trade-off is you get extra die to use during the score.
Yeah, I get that. I'm because I'm keen on extra die, and when I look at through the ringer, I see a potential of 4 extra die across the group, because each one of us would mark one of those.
Through the ringer is certainly mechanically a very good option.
Which one is that? Sorry.
Through the ringer, each PC may add +1 action rating to Ghost, Finesse, or Modify, up to a maximum rating of 3. I quite like the idea of boosting the number of dice we have to play with, if I'm honest.
And it's for everyone, not for people involved in
exactly. I suppose the hard question is whether each of us has a use for one of those. Certainly I would take Ghost and it would notch me up to 3.
Yeah, and I would take Finesse.
Because it would notch you up to 2, 3?
Yeah, 2, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
What about Dasha and Colleen? Does that help, or does that seem wasted on you?
I could put modify up to 3.
Let's see. It's ghost, finesse, and modify.
Mm-hmm.
I could get my ghost to 2, but I think that the trade-off is, having one character who benefits slightly less is more than acceptable. So, if that is what we do want to go with, then I would be happy to.
Just, in the metagaming sense, it gets us off to a running start, I think, across a range of stuff.
And I think with hacking, you do need ghosting if you need to be connected, right? Like you
We
need.
need to get to.
Yes, I need to get in, so it would be helpful.
Awesome. I think I feel like Alan's suggestion wins.
Cool. Do you take the sensible, safe but sensible option? I mean, as much as jumping off aircraft seems fun.
What's for the next upgrade? We're going to
Yes.
jump up there.
You can always learn how to jump off aircraft later.
Hey. All right.
So I'm taking a +1 to finesse that.
All right, I'll add that in. Yes.
And I'll add that to my notes.
Put up 2. So yeah, everyone gets a extra +1 to ghost, finesse, or modify. All right, so that's the special ability. Next is we assign crew upgrades. Upgrade is a viable asset that helps the crew in some ways, like a gang or spinner or whatnot. So the comets come with 2 from the start. The airship, which is the base. Your base is the crew's airship, and that the base is secure with crypto locks or whatnot. So so you get 2 additional upgrades to this new crew. So you have a total of 4 at the start. So let's go through some of them. So the Comet specific upgrades, and this is for Parm again. So first, there's Comet's rigging. So you may carry 2 load worth of tools or gear for free. So 2 more. And carrying demolition tools and hacking gear would count as 0 load, because usually hacking gear would count as 1 load. So that's rigging. You can upgrade the airship. Oh shit! There's some stuff for the airship I should have added. I just remembered there's some stuff I forgot to add. You're gonna need to choose an airship edge, and an airship flaw. Edge is kind of like what they're good at, and flaw is what they're bad at. Let me double check. I forgot to add that to the sheet. Let me double check that. Where the sorry, this is my bad.
No problem. You can find it later, Leandro. Don't worry about it now. Let's do the bits we can do.
Okay. So upgrade. Because this is important, because this will determine kind of like how good your ship is. I'll figure it out later and I'll message y'all. Sorry about that. But so one of the upgrades is you can upgrade your airship, so you can have an extra additional edge. There's like 3 edges, and you start with 1, and you start with 1 edge, you start with 1 flaw. You can get elite rooks or runners. Rooks and runners are types of cohorts. Basically, they're like people who work for you. Or you can get one of the more generic upgrades. So you can make like your base is hidden, or includes living quarters. Because otherwise, without this upgrade, each PC sleeps elsewhere. So you do have your airship base, but you don't live in the base. If it doesn't have quarters, you can have a vault, which would increase your storage capacity of jewels to 8. You can have a workshop. Your base could have a workshop that helps modify, has workshop pointed tools for modifying and tinkering. You can accomplish long-term projects in a workshop without having to leave the base. Or you can up the quality of your gear, like tools, supplies, weapons, or gear or spec tech. Or you can get training. And training is like, basically, it's a downtime activity where you can get XP for one of your 3 attribute types. That's and usually when you train, you get 1 XP. But if you have the upgrade to Insight, Prowess, or Resolve, you can get 2.
Sorry, Leandro, I'm drowning a bit.
Yeah.
Are you looking at vehicle edges and flaws on page 56?
Oh
Or is it
no,
somewhere
I'm looking at upgrades from in the character keeper, the comments, character, the sheet you have. I'm looking
Oh,
at
I see. Sorry. Okay, right. So how many of these? We've got airship and secure for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
How many boxes do we get to tick?
You get 2 more.
Yes.
I'm inclined for quarters and workshop. We need to put talk somewhere. Colleen needs to have somewhere to work, doesn't she?
It would be good.
I mean, it helps.
It really helps.
The idea of Colleen doing work somewhere else when we're on a job on the airship just seems to me to be losing a leverage.
Yeah, and I think living quarters is also good because we're always in close vicinity of each other, which means
Yeah.
like if things come up, it's much easier to spring into action as opposed to, oh, where are you again? Dasha, can you GPS him?
That works for me.
Does that make sense?
I think it does. I was also a bit into the training, but we can always get that later. I don't think it's. I think. Yeah, I think I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So yeah, quarters and workshop. All right, I figured out the edges and flaws. Let's do that as well here, so that we don't have to do that later. So you can pick. There's 3 airship edges, and you can pick 1 or 2, but you're gonna get an equal number of flaws. So the 3 edges are nimble. The airship handles easily. Consider this as an assist for tricky maneuvers like flying into a tornado or through skyscrapers, whatnot. Simple. The airship is easy to repair. Remove all harm during downtime. Wait, is that harm to the airship or harm to your? I think to the airship. That makes sense if it's harm
It's-
to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be airship.
It must be airship, yes.
Wait, does the airship have its own harm thing?
Yes, we're gonna treat it like a cohort, which is like they do come with harm and whatnot. They have like
Okay.
4 types of harm. Yeah. So and the third one is sturdy. The airship keeps operating even when broken.
I'm debating between simple and sturdy. I think we're not going to go outside the city at least for our initial score, so the first one is not really useful.
I think, Rob, how does Colleen think about keeping this thing running?
I like the idea of it being sturdy, like the classic thing of she's an old ship, but she'll fly you through, that sort of thing.
I like sturdy. I'm prepared to risk skills around nimble.
Nice.
Or did you say we can choose more than one?
Yeah, you can choose more than one, but you'll get an equal number of flaws. So you can get both simple and sturdy. But you want to hear the flaws.
Let's start with simple with sturdy and tell us about the flaws.
All right, so there's 3 flaws as well. First one is costly. The airship costs 2 joules instead of 1 per downtime to keep in operation. Distinct. The airship has memorable features. Take +1 heat after a score is completed, or it's illegal. The vehicle has banned tech. Take 2+ heat when you use it on a score, and +1D when speed matters.
Whoa!
Can I not make it finicky?
I have, are finicky and actually also equipped, which is one of the edges. I have those on my PDF of
Ooh.
Hack the Planet.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the reference sheets for the Comet's crew sheet. Those are the ones I'm looking at. They're specific airship edges and flaws. I'm not sure if where's the finicky one? Let me find it.
Yeah, these are so in the rulebook on page what is this? On page 103.
Oh, vehicle edges and flaws. Oh yeah.
I think you should go with the reference sheet because what the rule book does is to provide definitions of all the various terms. My guess is not all of which refer to everything. So if I think the reference, the play sheet for comets is probably the place to go.
Works for me.
Yeah, those are the specific ones for airship. But go ahead, Josh. So yeah, so you pick sturdy as the edge. So what's the corresponding flaw?
Should we go for the second one? What was that?
Distinct.
Yeah, like +1 heat.
Well, I feel like we really can't afford to have it be costly, right?
Yeah.
So that leaves our options as distinct and illegal, and
illegal is too bad. That pretty much leaves us with.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, okay. So it says that the vehicle uses BAMTech, take +2 heat when you use it on a score, and +1 D when speed matters. Would you say that flying over a place where we are does that mean when we use our illegal tech in order to boost the speed, or does that mean whenever it is there?
Yeah, when speed matters is quite broad.
Because so would we always take +2 heat, or would we only take +2 heat when we had to kick it into high gear?
I think grammar suggests that you take 2 heat when you use a score, comma, and 1D when speed matters.
Yeah,
I think
that sounds true.
The idea, because I don't know how you could, because heat is heat. You can't have heat go up and then go down, can you? You know, it goes up when you turn the accelerator on, goes back down when you turn the accelerator off. That doesn't seem mechanically doable, does it?
I think I think it refers to.
I don't
as
think
in criminal
so
attention.
heat refers to notoriety, not heat is criminal infamy.
No, I get that. It's heat. It's heat from the police or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just struggling a bit to see. I can't see how heat. So it goes up because we used it.
Yeah.
But you get an extra die when you use it when speed matters.
I mean, I don't see us doing any speed race stuff, sky races and stuff. Mostly we're good at going in, doing it, getting out. That's it. And so it doesn't make sense for us to be involved in this +1 speedy race, which means all the points that of the illegal is just giving us 2 heat for nothing, like no gain.
Well, see, but so that sort of is my question: is the illegal tech noticeable if we don't use the speed bonus? Because
as long as we use it to get into a score, like if we say, hey, we walk there on foot and we don't go with the airship, it like the grammar suggests that we are not going to get the 2 heat. But if we use it to jump in, and like if we get that special ability of jumping off the ship, that's going to be like every single time that's a +2 heat.
Okay.
Can I suggest that we simply say to Leandro, how do you interpret this?
Yes.
No, I think definitely if you use it, I think jumping off by using it in the score for sure. When you use it, it is what it is. If you use it to like infiltrate something, to get to a place for a score, you will get heat for sure.
Okay.
So I would say, just to simplify things, probably distinct is probably the best one. I mean, you get +1 heat. That's fine.
If it is a blanket +2 heat, then I would agree on distinct.
And so about costly versus distinct. What is the limit of having jewels when you don't have the vault special ability?
4.
But we also, for airship, it's specifically fuel.
Oh yeah, fuel is something
which is a different resource.
So
I don't know if there's a limit.
Plus jewels.
Oh yeah. For airship, you consume 1 fuel when you use it in the score. Um,
And with if
fuel
we
is
add,
different from joules.
so if we add the flaw of costly, it will take joules plus fuel.
Yeah, if you use it. I mean, I think. Let me double check the airship.
Yeah. Okay. So because it seems like what it should do if it's costly is instead of consuming 1 fuel per score, it consumes 2 fuel per score.
Yeah, there's some questionable words phrasing in some of these PDFs that okay. I'll double check that because we are kind of like going over we're getting a bit lost in the minutia. I'll double check all this airship stuff afterwards because there's some.
Anything that has joules on it worries me because we've given one of our 2 away.
Yeah.
And
so let's go with distinct.
All right.
And also, heat to me sounds like it's much easier to clear off heat than to gain joules.
That is true. All right. So when the player is assigned 2 upgrades, the GM will tell them about 2 factions. They're impacted by their choices. So basically, whoever helped you get or whatever you did to get your quarters and the workshop. Let's see. Definitely, workshop would involve one of the the hacker, not hacker, but the torque, one of those torque groups. Let's see, not those lot. Now I have to come up with what factions. Although again, I could like slide this over to y'all. Like, what factions do you think would be impacted by y'all getting your workshop and your quarters into your base?
Can I make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
There are too many factions for 4 of us to agree.
Yeah, okay, that is true. So I will just decide.
Tell us.
Very true. Okay, so I think that for the quarters, you're impacted by the scrappers. They're the wanderers and trackers that go looking for salvage outside of shelter one. So they know what they're doing in terms of like having to go out and be out and travel for a while. So that's her. I don't know how you got your quarters from them. As for the workshop, no, not cryptographers. Labor. Ooh, I did not. The laborers still have the description from the Leviathan hunters from Blades. No, there is not a group that go into the Never Sea to drain the Leviathans for blood. That. I think the workshop comes from the slingers. They're the folks who make the sheaths that become jewels. So they are well up in their crafting stuff. So I think okay, I'll give you the choice. Which one of them do you want to be friends with, and which one do you want to have pissed off?
It seems like we would rather be friends with the slingers.
All right. So they helped you get your workshop. So they like you, and you get +1 status with them. At your option, you can spend another jewel to repay their kindness, and you get +2 instead. But I don't think you want to spend your 1 jewel, do you? Probably.
No.
All right. So you screwed over the scrappers then for your living quarters. Don't know how to do that. I mean, I'd like to figure out, but we don't have time. So yeah, you're gonna take. Oh, you get -2 status with them. You can spend your 1 jewel to make it -1, but again.
Well, -2 is very dangerously close to a war.
Yeah.
And but we'll send the face man in to have a decent chat with them. They'll give us a job. We'll do it half price. Everything's fine.
That is an option. I mean, as much as like. I mean, you can say you want to do a score to help out the scraps. So like, all right, we'll modify them. It's fine. That's an option for sure.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to placate them now, or do we want to placate them in play?
Placate them now. Spend your jewel.
I think until I've got a firm feel for how jewels appear and then disappear, I'm loath to start next session with nothing in our pockets.
Yeah, I think that's safe. At least keeping one should be fine for backup. Because we don't even know how we're gonna spend. Is this only spent on our ship? We probably will need it to get some stuff. Like when the Torque among us are going to get stuff, probably you need to pay for that, or like as a
I think who knows, and
Yeah.
given the
Well, I
time,
can tell you how it works in Blades, but
Well,
it might not transfer. So
let's not embark on a rules analysis right now. Let's let Leandro run session 1 and either make that dual spend essential or help us realize that we should have spent it. Yeah.
all right.
Leandro.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're daring scoundrels. Jump into the abyss, piss off some people. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I mean, come on, these scrappers. They're what tier? They're tier 2. It'll be fine. And they have a strong hold, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Play to find out and embrace the consequences. What else do you need to know, Leandro?
All right, one last thing. Favorite contact. You're gonna choose a contact who's like a close friend, longtime ally, or partner in crime. And let's look at the comments options. So you can be friends with a cartographer named Ocean, a pilot named Manon, an anarchist named Hugo. Wow, that's a bit on the nose. A scrapper named Fitz, a corporation outsourcer named Iwa, or a mechanic named Chung A. Or you can make someone. Oh, go ahead.
Can I make a case for Fitz the Scrapper being the guy who doesn't like us? Because we've got a problem with the Scrappers anyway, haven't we?
What? We only pick a friend for our crew.
Yeah, you don't pick up.
Okay, can I suggest we don't pick Fitz the Scrapper then?
Yes, I
That
agree.
makes
I like the corporation outsourcer, but I struggle to understand what that actually means. I like us to have a connection to the corporate world.
So, my understanding of a corporate outsourcer is that it would probably be is that Iwo would probably act as a fixer for us for their particular corporation.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they work at a corporation, but they come to y'all for jobs. Like, we need some stuff in safety or wherever, and they're looking for people who can do things outside the law.
Okay. Meh.
Yeah, I go with that.
All right, cool. Yeah,
Extraction business, guys. We need and corporations pay for extractions.
yeah.
And they also have good jewels, like the ones that have energy in them, not the ones that you put on.
That's true. All right. So, and I lost my place. Oh no. Okay. The last thing is, again, factions are going to be impacted by your choice of contact. One faction is going to like your pal, and one faction is not going to like your pal. Let me
Can I suggest that is it safety that runs the city?
the megacorporation responsible for the physical well-being of the people and structures within Shelter 1. Yeah.
I suggest they don't like us because Ewa gives us jobs that mean that some of the people they're supposed to be protecting don't get protected.
Ooh.
Well,
Ooh.
arguably they get more protected because we are extracting.
Yeah, I just not sure that safety is keen on people just swapping jobs when their corporate paymasters don't want them to.
So so in the comments section of the rulebook, it says for Iwa, in the suggestion questions, one of the suggestion questions is, could they work for safety in some capacity, seeking crews for specific jobs? High risk, no doubt. So I think there also is the potential that if safety has to work in a situation that may be antithetical to the well-being of the people of the city, as is their responsibility, we are glitches. We don't technically exist as far as the law is strictly concerned. So our physical well-being being harmed is much less important. And, we're contract workers.
Okay, so safety is our friend. I like that.
All right, so you get +1.
I and maybe the Myriad are unhappy about this because we're working with a corporation.
Ooh, yeah. They're the anonymous group that disseminates politically charged information on smart paper while we're wearing reflective masks. The masks are designed to educate the masses on how the corporations profit at their expense. There's more of them in the book. I mean, I'm fine with that. Like safety, likes you.
Does that sound sane to you all?
Yeah, I go with that.
Great to me.
At your choice, you can make one of them is a 1 and one is a -1. You can make those a 2 and a -2 if you want.
No.
Oh, come on, live on the edge. You live in a.
We have 1 -2 enemy already. Thank you. Thanks for the offer. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
All
we've got 4 sessions to get to -2 with somebody.
We have a lot of time.
Fair
and
enough.
a lot of swooping to do off our airship, so that's
Yes.
That is true. That is true. Anyway, sadly, we will not be able to see any of that swooping today. We reach our time. Thanks very much for putting up with my computer freezing nonsense at the start. Apologies again for that. But here's the bittersweet thing of session 0. So much cool stuff. Now we gotta wait a week until we see all this cool stuff employed. But I'm looking forward to seeing them all in action. So I think that one thing I'm just gonna ask is I'm gonna ask for stars because we mostly just most stars y'all came up with cool shit. But I'll ask for some wishes. What do y'all want to see next week, in particular? Because I think I'm just gonna throw you into an opening scenario. There's like a specific thing. We're just gonna go straight into it. But what specific things do folks want to see? And again, I'll go clockwise on this screen. Param, do you have any wishes for next week?
I don't want to forget stars. I think you took me, not sure about others, really nicely through the setting and answered people's questions along the way. So that I think that helped everyone, most of all me. So thanks a lot for that. Wishes, I think the setting is pretty cool. So it's too early for me to say, hey, I want to see this. I have a lot of anticipation anyway, so not any specific wishes. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks very much, Param. I mean, if folks want to say their stars, that's fine as well. I would say, like, if you do want, like, say you want to see a specific thing, like, oh, I want to see this faction, I want to see this detail, or I want to see a horrific hurricane to have to fight off. That's perfectly fine as a wish. I mean, I don't know why would you want to fight a hurricane, or at least deliberately want to fight a hurricane. You passed off from being the coven of weird storm witches. Anyway, Alan, stars, wishes, anything?
Yeah, stars. I think at the start of you, Leandro, you've been very patient as we've kind of got dug into the nitty gritty, perhaps more than you might have wanted us to. So thanks for that. Wishes. I certainly insist on abseiling onto a roof. The circumstances I leave entirely to you, but there will be a rope. There will be a roof, and I will land on it. Okay. After that, over to you.
Okay. All right. So minimum for next week's score, 1 roof. Okay. High enough to have to be abseiled on. Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool. Josh, do you have any stars and wishes?
I will add in addendum to that wish. I cannot speak for Alan, but my desire to abseil onto a roof would be equally sated by abseiling off of a roof. Extraction and insertion are both valid ways for us to enter, but I do really like the vertical element that that having a airship does, allow us to take advantage of. and I would love to see that used.
If you want to wrap this up, then abseil on, and then portable wing off.
Wait, do we have portable wings?
I have a voluminous poncho.
Let's see when we get there. Oh God. Thanks very much, Josh. Rob, you have any wishes for next week?
So stars, I like. There are a lot of really fun things in the character abilities and the crew abilities that made choosing both easy and hard. So yeah. But wishes for next week. I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to see an act of God in the first session, maybe. But I do want to see like how the climate change is making things weird.
Very cool. All right. Note those
If there's
in.
a tornado on us when I'm on that rope, I'm coming to see you in person, Rob.
Look, if it's look, you can resist consequences. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, cool. Thanks very much, folks. I don't know if anyone will watch this to the end because it was all character creation. If you did, so anyone watching this, you can check out the game, Hack the Planet. There'll be a link down below. There's a link to the gauntlet, all that stuff. Thanks very much again to Varys. I mean, my big stars to y'all for being just patient with all this, putting it all together, having me explain all this. Thanks very much, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all these things in play. I'm going to end the broadcast. Bye, YouTube. Bye-bye. Yes, I want to end my broadcast. Yes, StreamYard. I want to end it. I mean, not.